American Grizzly, thank you for the 75, man. Appreciate it. Love the show, Brian. Longtime follower of Knowles and Daily Wire. Love to see you're coming to Buffalo. I'm already seeing protests starting. Best of luck.
It's because I'm very intimidating. You know, we were just talking about those like gym rat, very imposing dudes, and so it's like they know when I'm coming.
They can sense you.
They can. It's my pheromones.
I think someone called you Channing Tatum.
That's people say it all the time. Many people are talking about it. Yeah.
Do you know any martial arts?
I actually I did briefly train in what I called Krav Maga at Jeremy Boring's house.
Okay.
Oh, it's also known as Jiu-Jitsu, and so I trained in that for a while, and it was awful. It was horrible. I'd wake up early. I'd have to like.
But jiu-jitsu is when you use more your legs.
But this is jiu-jitsu. It's also known as Krav Maga, and you know, it's like you fighting kind of dirty, and it was a hassle, man.
Sounds fun. I want to do that.
You want to do that?
Yeah,
switch to lightsaber.
I'm a lover, not a fighter. I realize that.
I feel like
you
are a little
could
bit
tell.
both.
I've never been in a fight.
Are you more of a feminine man?
Am I or why would make you ask that?
Because you're like, I'm a lover and not a fighter. No,
I'm like Lancelot in my own mind, at least. Yeah.
I feel he does come off as a little feminine.
Yeah.
But
like,
in a real
Shots fired.
It's actually like a good thing.
A good energy. It's a good feminine energy.
Yeah.
It's like a kind of manly feminine.
It's like nurturing.
Your actions would be masculine, but you would understand.
It's diplomatic.
Wow. Oh,
I don't think you come off feminine at all. I just don't think you come off as toxic, like masculine, which is a lot of people are starting used to. I just think you're just a normal Like I don't really see you coming up as feminine, but you're just not. Yeah.
Wait, right? Because he's toxic.
He's Satan right there. And
I'm the toxic one.
Yeah.
The toxic masculinity is.
I feel like like today's like it's either you're either toxic or you're feminine. There's no like just normal masculine anymore. You know.
Okay.
You're the toxic feminine.
I think actually you raise a great point, because when you see people bring up toxic masculinity, and a lot of times people bring it up because they just hate masculinity. So they say, you know, all masculinity is toxic. But there is a toxic kind of masculinity, right? There is a way where men who basically have no good role models just decide to perform to try to pretend they're Conan the Barbarian or something like that. And it's very silly.
Just toxic stupidity, maybe.
Yeah.
It just always looks like you're overcompensating for something.
Right.
So I sort of almost reject this concept of toxic masculinity, because I feel like it needlessly genders behavior. Because I have. Am I toxically masculine?
I don't know, but I feel like.
How do you really feel?
I feel like there definitely is toxic masculinity. I don't think all masculinity is bad. There is good.
Victoria.
Yeah, I mean, some people tell me that you kind of like blame women a lot. It's like you put like a lot of
therapy
that's
session.
a toxic masculinity where you kind of
I blame. What do I blame?
you blame women.
For
like
your
you have
problems.
this like.
I don't blame women for my
It's like you
problems.
tell their lie. You kind of create this image that women are
like
bad, and you continuously put it out there for young men to like be like, oh, I don't want to get married. Like I will just date women for like as long as I want. Why not?
You don't want to get married?
No.
No.
Why not?
All right.
Brian.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, 1v7. Okay. Well, so I'm not opposed to necessarily having a life partner, but there are certain. I'm sorry, Michael. There are certain realities when it comes to marriage that, from the male perspective, make it seem risky.
Oh, only from the male perspective? Because I can feel like it's also risky from the female's perspective.
How so?
I think you've never been in love.
I feel like if
Or
you're
very
thinking about
offended.
risk factor, I feel like it goes both ways.
Yeah.
Okay, they're turning on me.
Well, but to your point, Brian, you make a good amount of money. The way the judicial system works, if a woman divorced you, she could take a bunch of your money, she could take your kids. So there's a risk. But my question is, if you're already going to have a life partner, which sounds, I'm sorry to say, kind of gay, like it's not gendered, it's not traditional.
Thank you for saying that.
It's just so if you're going to do that anyway, but you want to protect against divorce, why not just marry a woman who's not going to get divorced?
Or get a prenup.
The thing,
literally.
So you're saying like, well, if you find a great woman that that's
not even just that. I'm saying because you could find the most wonderful woman in the world, and then I don't know, someday something goes off in her brain and she totally turns on you. But what if you create the structures such that you're not going to get divorced. I'll give you an example. I'm Catholic. My wife and I cannot get divorced. She could murder me. That would be her way out of the marriage. But it is not possible for us to get divorced. Now, if let's say you're not Catholic yet, and maybe you don't, you haven't worked through these things, maybe.
Wait, did you say yet?
We're just talking. And
okay.
So I'm saying, what if before you get married, you sign a prenup, but not the kind of prenup now, not the kind of prenup where you say, okay, in case we get divorced, we get 50-50. What if you sign a prenup that says, if you divorce me,
I will kill you.
Yeah, I'll kill you. Whoever brings the divorce forfeits everything. That's the Knowles prenup, and then you're safe. She's not going to take your kids, and she's not going to take your money, and you get to be married and not have a life partner.
Sure. I mean, I'd love to bring on a family attorney to ask him questions about this, but kind of what I've heard and my understanding when it comes to prenuptial agreements is that oftentimes they can be thrown out, and I don't think prenups can apply to post-marriage. So you can protect your assets that you've acquired pre-marriage. I could be totally off base here, but I've heard prenups can get thrown out. Someone could say, oh, I was signed it under duress, blah, blah, blah. It's unfair. It's there's a specific term for it that's evading me right now. It's
But is that why you don't want to get married? Because you're afraid of the divorce potentially?
Afraid of women.
Why not just date another successful woman?
Do you have trust issues, Brian?
Well, this
It sounds like you have trust issues.
It's just Michael and the girls here intervening with you, Brian.
Like if you date another successful woman, wouldn't that fear kind of disappear? Because then if anything, it's like, she could be scared of your.
What if she's more successful than you? Or something what if she's making more money than you are?
Yeah. Like why are we assuming that you're the breadwinner?
You want a wife, right? I mean, you want to.
Apparently not.
Maybe he wants to be.
He wants a life partner, Mike. He wants a life partner.
Yeah, well, you're right. Okay, maybe that does sound.
You know what's big now? Virtual girlfriends, virtual wives. It's a thing now.
Like this
AI?
one. You get an AI wife?
What is a virtual wife?
He wants a dog that speaks English.
Yeah,
but she can take all the.
And that he wouldn't get in trouble for.
But it's like a thing in the future now. You can have a virtual, it's like an AI, but it will interact with
your love life here.
Like Siri.
Why aren't you
just put all your faith into us and we
happen.
can figure it out for you?
Yeah, we'll figure out all your love life
We really want to get to the root of this problem.
Yeah.
I don't see the benefit.
This is why I asked, don't you want a wife?
Of having a companion?
I can have a companion and not be married. And I'm not a fan of the government, so I don't want the government involved in my love
But
affairs.
if you live with someone more than 10 years, you're going to
be legally married.
It's common law marriage anyway.
Well, that's only some states. Not all states have common law marriage. California,
we do.
I don't know how long. No, California does not have common law marriage.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah,
my parents are by that.
No, not
that's
California.
The only
I'm pretty sure California is not common law marriage.
Yeah, no.
That's the only reason my mom is still in my dad's
Google it.
I'll do common law marriage.
They're legally
states,
married by the state, but they've never been. They haven't been dating since 2001.
So
they dated for 1 year.
Colorado, Iowa, Kansas, Montana, New Hampshire, Oklahoma, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Texas, Utah, and DC. Those are the only, according to this Sterling Lawyers.
Your very quick Google search. Your 2-second search.
I think it's a minority of states that have common law marriage. But yes, that is a risk factor in those states. If you are cohabitating with somebody and you almost treat your relationship as if you're married, then you are basically, in the eyes of the law, you are married. Luckily in California, which I don't know how much longer I'm going to stay here, I'm probably going to get canceled by proxy because Michael's on the show, but just kidding. But
maybe kidding. I don't know. You probably the franchise tax board is going to come and evict you. Probably.
Oh, jeez, scary stuff. So I don't have anything against for other people. That's great. I've sort of looked at the numbers. I've done the calculus, and to me it seems like here I'll put the math here. I've done the math. 50% of marriages end in divorce, and the stats I've seen, 80% of divorces are initiated by women. And so when I say it's bad for the man, divorce, the negative consequences of divorce typically tend to disproportionately impact men. They can impact women, but I think 97% of alimony payments go from men to women. So there are some concerns there financially, and then just you have the government involved, and then it can be quite contentious. And then not only is there the consideration in terms of splitting your assets, but then you have lawyers involved. And I don't have anything necessarily wrong perhaps from a religious perspective with marriage, but when the state's involved, and I think we ought to perhaps rewrite marriage laws to perhaps incentivize men to get married again, because you have no fault divorce.
Yeah.
And what's the other thing? And then, your wife could cheat on you and then take half your shit. I think under certain circumstances, if you can prove it in a courtroom, that perhaps you shouldn't be on the hook for alimony if there's been some infidelity, for example.
You're saying so that you could dump your wife if she cheats on you?
Yes, without any
Brian,
financial.
who hurt
Most
you?
prenups
Like,
Let me ask you a
I feel
question.
like you're always
Yeah.
worried about like something gonna happen bad. Like when
Something
would you just
wrong.
like you have no trust and faith in
But
these
I think
women.
it's the society we live in now.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Also, like,
let me ask you a question. So how many people get married and they think, hey, this is the person I love, we're going to be together forever, and then you hear that divorce rate, it's like 50% of marriages end in divorce.
I think when people get married very young, right?
Isn't that the best time to get married?
Not
Well,
necessarily.
Mike, what are your thoughts on that?
Some of the
you're like an exception.
I didn't get married young though. I've only been married now about 5 years, but I should have gotten married younger. It's one of my quasi regrets in life. But some of the best marriages I've ever seen were people who got married 20 years old or 22 or 23 years old. I just wonder, Brian, if because all the objections you're raising are completely legit.
Sure.
I just wonder if you are looking at an alternative that doesn't really exist, that's illusory. Because if you're thinking, okay, I'm going to have more freedom if I don't get married, I don't know if that's true. If you're always in one of these situations, even if you're just dating, where you think, well, where are we? Where do we stand? Is he going to leave me? Is this that? Is that? In a marriage, in a proper marriage, all that is gone. And so you think, I had a bad day, I got in a fight with my wife, I didn't do the laundry, whatever. Doesn't matter, especially if you believe in marriage like marriage really is. You say this is an institution defined by real things. I made a covenant before God and the political community. I signed up with the government. They're going to take my money if I break this covenant. And that actually, it seems like it puts limitations on you, but it actually gives you a ton of freedom. Because you can think, oh, I'm here, we're in this. There's no getting out. There's no way out but through, and so we're just going to make this thing work. I find it's a very freeing experience.
Yeah. What if you also meet someone and she's like, I want to get married, and you're in love with this girl? Is it a deal breaker for you?
I have not crossed that.
He hasn't found that girl yet.
Road yet, but I don't know. I mean, my thinking on this is just you should never sign a contract with someone who's rewarded for breaking it. And in today's day and age, oftentimes if you break the marriage contract, there are certain financial benefits that you can reap.
But you can go get married in another country, and then you don't have to.
Passport bros, we up. I think Japan, maybe.
Yeah. Actually, you know what's happening in Japan? Because women can't there's not enough guys. So there's a thing where they have one woman wedding because all these girls want to get married.
Tokyo, here I come.